Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We're glad you're here for today's webinar, From Stuck to Inspired, Rethinking Your Career Journey. I'm Greg Berry, Director of Communications in the Office of Alumni Affairs. A disclaimer, as with any virtual event, occasional technical hiccups may occur. If you experience any video or audio issues, simply click reconnect or refresh your screen to return to the presentation quickly. Now, before we get in too far, I'd love to get a sense of where everyone is starting from today. You're going to see a poll asking if you could have any magical tool to help navigate your career. Which would you choose? A crystal ball, a life GPS, a career coach in your pocket, a choose your own adventure map, or a magic reset button? And I see the answers coming in now. They're jockeying. We're going to go ahead and leave that up for a moment so you can submit your answer. And just a heads up, we are recording today's webinar. Our live audience will get an email with the link once it's ready. Today, we're excited to welcome Dr. Kerrie Montgomery Orozco. Kerrie is a program manager at Mission Collaborative and brings more than 25 years of experience in student affairs and higher education. Over the years, she's led programs in international education, academic advising, and leadership development all around the world. On top of that, Kerrie also teaches courses in higher education and student affairs at the University of Florida. Are you looking for a career that feels more fulfilling and impactful? The UAB Career Design Program is a flexible 30-day peer-led experience that helps you explore new paths and build a career that aligns with your goals. Hosted by our friends at Mission Collaborative, the program will help you create an actionable plan based on your strengths and what you want next. You can enroll by February 7th, save $50. Registration does close February 23rd. Now, before tossing things over to Kerrie, here are the results from that earlier poll. It looks like 32% wish they had a career coach in their pocket, 25% a choose your own adventure map. Now, before we actually get to today's feature, a follow-up, just to know where everybody stands in their career. Your answer is just going to help us get a better understanding of you. Are you just starting your career, established mid-career, but looking for something different, looking to get back into the workforce, wanting to figure out how to make a major move, or not transition, but seeking more fulfillment in your career? We'll go ahead and keep that up, and we'll drop the responses in the chat here in a little bit. But at this time, I'd formally and officially and finally, I guess, like to welcome and turn things over to Kerrie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us here today. I'm really excited to be with you and to share about our great career design process. So I appreciate the lovely introduction, and I'm just going to jump right in and thank you everybody for joining today. I'm glad that we have a nice group here, and I'm excited about your poll responses. What we're going to talk about in response to that first poll question is somewhere between a choose your own adventure and having a career coach in your pocket. So it's a nice balance, the program that we're going to talk about today. So I'll keep an eye. I'll be interested to see the other results of where you are in your careers. So we're going to be talking about our career design process, which is a practical framework for figuring out what's next in your career, whether that's, you're chasing that dream job, or you're just looking for the next good move, or, maybe you're just thinking ahead and you know that you're not doing something that you want to do forever. And so you're interested in looking forward. So it's not a process for people trying to design just for people trying to design the career that they picture as like checks all the boxes, everything perfect. It's for anyone who is navigating change or uncertainty, or maybe feeling a little bit of burnout, maybe some combination of those things. Maybe you've experienced a job loss. We know that there have been a lot of layoffs and changes in jobs and the work environment in the last couple of years. Maybe there's been a shift in your industry, or you're just rethinking what you want out of your work life after everything. I know I went through that in COVID, and I thought, am I doing what I really meant to be doing, what I really want to be doing? So this process is designed for moments like that. So really, wherever you are. And the idea is that it will prepare you for doing this kind of process at any point that you're feeling like that again. It's giving you the toolkit to be able to really evaluate where you are and decide where you want to go. So what it does that's so effective for people is that it helps you see all the paths that are available to you and then narrow in on the ones that you really feel are the best fit. So, best fit based on your values, on your strengths, your goals, and the life that you want. So whether you're starting fresh, whether you're pivoting, maybe you're a recent graduate, this is still for you. Um, if you're pivoting or if you're just trying to, explore the possibilities, this process meets you where you are and it helps you to move forward with a bit of confidence and clarity about what those next steps can look like. So, a little about us. Mission Collaborative began in 2017, so pre-COVID, with an in-person career change boot camp. And as the world shifted online, we adapted to a virtual 30-day format, which has allowed us to reach over 10,000 participants from a variety of industries and backgrounds. And we've partnered with more than 60 universities, and that number is growing constantly. So we added several institutions between fall and spring. So we're always growing, and we're excited to continue to offer this experience to alumni like yourselves. We are really excited to be supporting the next UAB alumni group kicking off on February 28th. So Greg already shared about the registration deadline for that. And you'll have an opportunity to go through the process in depth and connecting with your UAB peers. And that's what I really love about this program. You're part of a community of your peers, maybe recent grads, maybe folks who have been out of school for a while, but you're all coming from the same experience. And you're also connected to a community of all of the people who have ever been through the career design process with us. So you have a huge network available by being part of our career design program. The process that we teach is based in the design thinking principles. So it's been refined through literally thousands of stories that we've had from our participants. And, we've continued to make improvements as we get responses through the program. And it is about helping you reflect, explore your options, and align your career with the impact that you're looking to make for your life and in the world. So before we dive in, I'll just say feel free to use the Q&A feature for questions or put things in the chat is fine. And if I don't get to them during the session, I'll try to get to them at the end. So I'll kind of be saving questions until the end. And if I don't get to you, then we'll reach out directly. If you want to, I'll drop my email in the chat a little bit further into the session. But right now, I'm actually going to drop it into the chat a little document that will help you guide you through. Hopefully you're seeing that it's a Google Doc. It's going to ask you to make a copy, and that will help you to follow along with the session and take some notes as we're going, because even before we get to the 4-week program, you'll get some of this, some of the steps today. So again, Greg gave me a great introduction, so I don't have to say a lot more about myself, but I'm Dr. Kerrie Montgomery Orozco, and I'm located in South Florida. And as was said, I've worked for over 25 years in higher ed administration. And one of the things that has been a highlight for me throughout my work is professional development. I've been working with graduate students and colleagues, both here at my institutions and around the world, to really help folks kind of figure out what professional development they need to get where they want to go. So working with Mission Collaborative was a really great fit for me. I'm excited to be a program manager there and have the opportunity to help guide folks like you through this process. And it's really, really fulfilling to see people leave with a clearer sense of what they can do next and what they can explore next than when they started the program. So it's a great curriculum, and it again aims to set you up for success through any kind of career transition, or if maybe you are just finishing and are thinking, I'm not sure what to do next. Well, pay attention, we got you. So let's see. So why do so many people feel stuck? According to a State of the American Workforce poll, about 2/3 of Americans report feeling disengaged at work. Given how much of our time that we spend working, it's really important that our careers energize us and align with our values and strengths and help us to feel like we're thriving and not just going through the motions. A career and a job are not the same thing. So you have to kind of keep that in mind as you're looking for what that thing is that's going to really, fill you up and get you excited about getting out of bed every morning to go to work. When your career reflects your core values and allows you to leverage your strengths, you are more likely to feel fulfilled and motivated. And on the flip side, if you're misaligned with your values and your strengths, whether that's a conflict, with your values in your workplace, or you just don't have the opportunities to do the things you maybe feel strongest at or are most passionate about in your work, that can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. And I have personally experienced both of those environments. Some of the time, it's been both of those things in the same environment at different times. And I suspect many of you have as well. So our program focuses on helping participants identify what it is that truly matters to you so that you can create careers that bring you energy and purpose. We talk a lot about values, but have you really thought about what your values are? And so we help you to think through that process and understand what matters most to you. So for those of you who are in the stage of, maybe you've been working for a while, or maybe you have an advanced degree or certifications, or you feel like you've made a really big investment in the career that you're in now, but it's still just not feeling quite right. That idea can be completely overwhelming. And especially if you're facing a change that wasn't part of the plan, whether that's an unexpected layoff or a shakeup in your industry, you're feeling burned out on something that you once loved, or maybe there's a change in your personal life. Those changes can hit you hard and fast and leave you thinking, okay, what now? What do I do? And even when the change is something you want, it can still be tough to answer questions like, what do I actually want to do next? How do I move forward without starting over completely? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. So, you feel unsure where to begin, you're afraid of making the wrong move. Maybe you've made a lot of investment in where you are and you think, I don't want to waste that. I don't want to lose that. Um, the truth is that most of us were never taught how to navigate career transitions in a thoughtful and strategic way. And that's where our program comes in. And the career design process it's a flexible step-by-step framework that helps you kind of eliminate the noise and get clear on your direction and take meaningful, low-risk steps toward change, right? You're doing it in a little bubble, a little safety bubble. And whether you're pivoting out of necessity or by choice, it's still going to give you the opportunity to do that exploration and do some testing in a very intentional way, that gives you a little bit of security about how you're approaching it. So here's what most people do. And you can put in the chat, or because I can't see you. So if you want to put in the chat, you know, a thumbs up or something, or a 1, 2, or 3, to let me know where you lie on this. But most commonly, job seekers fall into one of 3 big traps. Either number 1, the numbers game, right? You send out a million applications hoping for a response. You know, you're crafting all these cover letters specific to jobs. It's exhausting. It's rarely effective. It can actually be really sort of, I don't know, unsettling and dehumanizing in some ways, right? You're fighting the AI. And number 2, you go for the high-priced career coach. And that's not always accessible to people. It's not practical for everybody to make that kind of an investment. Or you do nothing. You just stay stuck and unfulfilled because you're afraid of starting, or of knowing, you know, which way to go. So if any of those resonate with you, feel free to drop some little note in the chat. But our program offers a better approach than any of these 3, because it's actionable, it's iterative, and it is focused on designing a career path that's aligned with your goals. So it's about reflecting on what matters, exploring possibilities, and then testing ideas before you commit to the job search. And so you're not wasting time. We're helping you to figure out what those next steps are, so that when you're ready to take them, you know that you are taking the right step, right, toward the right thing for you. So let's talk a little bit now about the actual career design process. And this is where that little worksheet is going to come in. Hopefully you've been able to access that. So the framework for the career design process was inspired by design thinking principles from the book Designing Your Life. So if any of you are familiar with that, it's based in those principles, and the Stanford Design School. Those things are at the core of how we help people navigate career transitions at Mission Collaborative. So it blends the best of design thinking with proven career coaching practices. And true to our values, it is constantly being tweaked, refined, updated based on real feedback from participants. Our goal is to shorten the on-ramp to change, and to help you stop spinning your wheels or feeling stuck, and to start gaining really actionable clarity about what's next for you. The process is designed to meet you wherever you are. So again, whether you're rethinking your current role, you're just starting out, you're changing industries, or you know, you've been suddenly laid off, or you know, scrambling to figure out what to do next. The process is simple. There are 4 steps. They are reflection, definition, testing, and launch. And we're going to walk through each one of them today, so that you can start applying the framework immediately to your own career journey. So you'll get just kind of the headlines, right? And be able to start thinking about it. And obviously in the course, it goes much deeper. So let's take a look. We're going to start talking about reflection. So the first step in the career design process is reflection. And it's what makes you you, right? So it's about asking yourself the important questions about who you are, what do you care about, and what are you good at? Okay. So think about those questions. Who am I? What do I care about? What am I good at? It's important to take time with this reflection process, because it helps you understand what makes you unique. And self-awareness is key to shaping a meaningful career path. You can't just stay in, you know, this is the job I've always done, and so this is, you know, what I'm meant to do. You have to go deep and really think about what makes you you, what makes you tick, what excites you. And by reflecting, you're less likely to jump into a career that doesn't fit. So it's like navigating with a compass, and reflection points you in the right direction, even if the path ahead of you is not clear yet. So in my own journey, reflecting on my experiences allowed me to see how much I value helping people identify and move in the direction of the careers they love. whether it's through programs like Mission Collaborative or my one-on-one coaching or my teaching. And it's this clarity that helped me focus on my consulting work on creating realistic and actionable professional development plans for professionals in my industry. That's what gets me excited. That's what motivates and energizes me, is helping people to really figure out their next steps. So this is my thing, right? And I found that out by reflecting on my strengths, my passions, what excites me. So now I want to hear from you. I'm going to have a quick poll, and you'll only be able to select one option, but you can feel free to drop others that apply in the chat. So here's your poll, and I think that that's going to get launched for us here in just a second.
Yep, I'm sliding right down to it for you.
Okay.
And it should be up and running.
Okay. So which of the following resonates most with you as you consider your next career move? Let's see what you've got. I want my work to align with my core values and passions. I'm seeking a role where I can make a tangible impact on others' lives. I'm looking for a career that leverages my strengths and skills in a new way. I'm hoping to find work that offers more balance between personal and professional life. Or I'm not sure yet, but I'm ready to explore new possibilities. And again, more than one of these may resonate with you, but choose the one that feels strongest for you. Let's see what we've got here. I see a 40 looking for a career that leverages my strengths and skills in a new way is getting a lot of action. Okay. Okay. Give that just another second or two and make sure everybody's had a chance to respond. Okay, it looks like that's our winner. So the top response there is that most of you, just under half of you, are looking for a career that leverages your strengths and skills in a new way. So that's great. At your core, you know what you want to be doing, but you're not sure where that right career is that's going to let you do those things. Are you looking for a change? Maybe you're feeling a little burned out. And that's exactly where I was. So I think that's probably a common theme. Okay, great. So now that we understand why reflection matters, we'll focus on the four key areas that will guide you through this phase. So if you've got that worksheet handy or just a sheet of paper, you can jot down your thoughts as we go through these. So we start with your core values. Your core values are your guiding principles. So if your career doesn't align with them, it's hard to stay engaged, right? You may not think about your key values very often, or that may not be sort of top of mind kind of information. But for example, you might have a great paying job, but feel disconnected if it clashes with what you truly care about. So, ask yourself, what values shape who I am and how I work? Does my current job align with those values, or is there a disconnect? And then make a note of any areas of conflict. So for example, and especially during COVID, I was working in student activities at a large university, and the big issues that we were trying to deal with were how to make our concerts available in an online platform. So that just didn't seem as important to me as other things as we were in the midst of a global pandemic. And so that got me thinking about, maybe my values are not in alignment here. What I really find important and valuable, it's not showing up so much in my work every day. So I'll give you a little sense of a core values issue there. The second thing is understanding your strengths. So your strengths are your natural tendencies, the things that you're just innately good at. So using them in your work leads to better performance, better motivation. So are you able to leverage your strengths in your current role? Write down how often you use them, whether it energizes you or drains you. Think about those strengths. Are you able to use them in your current role? The next thing is skills. So owning your transferable skills. Skills are learned abilities over time. So skills may come out of your strengths, but they are things that are developed over time with practice, with experience. So while they may feel niche, especially depending on your industry, most skills are transferable if framed correctly. So you should write down any skills you have that you feel like are underutilized in your current position. What are the things that you feel like you've gained that you don't use as much as you'd like to, the things that you find really interesting? Maybe you love making pivot charts in Excel and you don't get to do that too much. That's literally an example. So those are the kinds of things to think about. And then the fourth thing is your interests. So interests are the topics or causes that excite you. When your work aligns with your interests, you feel more engaged. So does your current role reflect your interests, or do you feel disengaged? Jot down a few interests that you have that could be better aligned with your work. So for me, I love travel. I love international travel, learning about new cultures, trying new food, learning languages. So to work in international education is a great fit. Constantly working with students from all over the world, collaborating with colleagues from institutions around the world. My interests and my work completely aligned on that. So think about those kinds of things. And these are what lay the foundation for designing a fulfilling career. So with that, we're going to do another quick poll to look at some common skills and how widely applicable they are. So again, you're only going to be able to select one, but if there are others that you want to reference, you can drop those into the chat. Okay,
We are
so
up and running.
up and running. Okay, so which of the following strengths do you feel you excel at most in your current or past role? Problem solving and adapting to unexpected challenges, communicating complex ideas clearly and effectively, leading and motivating groups to achieve goals, managing time and resources efficiently, or building relationships and fostering collaboration. Let's see what's cooking over here. Lots of problem solvers in our group here today. Okay. All right. Let's see. Still
I am
moving a little bit.
surprised how lopsided that is.
Yeah. That's the communication thing. Leading and motivating groups to achieve goals. Okay, that's a skill you all need to start developing. Get going on that. But fully almost like just under 50% of you have problem solving and adapting to unexpected challenges as strength that you feel you excel at most. That's great, because boy, do we need problem solvers. So let's see how these things are valuable across a range of careers, because we do have answers, we do have responses in every category, okay? So for those problem solvers and folks who are adapting to challenges, good at adapting to challenges, so if you've had to think on your feet or troubleshoot issues, adjust to changing circumstances, already have a very highly sought after skill. So this adaptability is crucial in things like project management, consulting, operations, any role requiring quick thinking and process improvement. And start thinking about those things that maybe you've never considered, depending on what your current industry is. For those of you who said communicating complex ideas clearly, the ability to explain challenging concepts to whether it's clients or team members or stakeholders is essential in fields like training and development, instructional design, technical writing, marketing. So clear communication is key for influence and impact. So think about some of those things. You know, if you're great at communicating ideas, and maybe it's time to start thinking about going into something like training and development for your industry that gives you a chance to flex that skill set in a different way. For our leaders, let's see, if you successfully led teams, or you feel like that's a strength, or if you're just great at facilitating meetings, or inspired others to, reach their goals, or you just feel like leadership is one of your biggest assets. Roles in management, community outreach, program coordination, anything that requires strong team guidance, so community organizing, community planning, um, you know, uh, program management, things like that. For those of you who are great with managing time and resources efficiently, balancing multiple tasks, meeting deadlines, allocating resources effectively, those things are critical in operations management, in event planning, administrative roles like chief of staff, those kinds of things, entrepreneurship. You cannot run a business if you are not great at managing your time and resources efficiently. So those things will drive productivity in any industry. So think about these things as transferable across your industries, right? Don't be locked into the industry you're in if you are strong in some of these areas. And then building relationships and fostering collaboration. If you thrive on working with people and resolving conflicts, creating strong connections, that is something that's essential in client services, in HR, in public relations or sales, work with nonprofit organizations, where things like collaboration and relationship building really drive success. So one of the biggest things we see in career changers in particular is not recognizing how adaptable your skills really are. So you might think your experience is limited to one industry, but strengths like problem solving, leadership, communication, those things are in demand everywhere across every industry. So the key is learning how to translate them effectively into those new opportunities. And that's something that we help with in the career design program. So once we finished with reflecting, taking stock, then you move into the definition stage. And so that is defining what you want. And this is where things start to really take shape, okay? So in this phase, you build a personal roadmap by identifying your career criteria. So here's we're moving in the direction of that choose your own adventure map that some of you wanted, right? So things like your salary that you'd like, work style, schedule flexibility, opportunities for growth and development in your role, values alignment, and the kind of impact you want to make. So you have to think about those criteria um, and what really, really matters to you so that you're not just chasing what looks good on paper, but what actually fits the life you want to build. Because if you find the job that fits the salary and it fits, maybe it fits the values and the kind of impact that you want to make, but the salary is, and the salary is good, but it's in a location that you can't make work because you have other obligations, or maybe it's all these other things, but the salary isn't where you need it to be, then that's something that you have to understand what's negotiable in your life and really filter out the things that are not fitting that definition. Okay, you have to create that definition for yourself and then look within that band. So from that point, you'll start brainstorming a wide range of potential paths. And this is where self-awareness turns into actionable clarity. Okay, so instead of staying stuck or defaulting to just what's familiar, you're going to be able to filter out those misaligned roles, focus your energy on opportunities that really align with what you're looking for and that are exciting for you and are actually realistic. Okay, so the magic of this is that you don't do this part alone. So we use a peer learning model. So you'll be paired with both an accountability partner and a small team. And we craft those teams so that you're bringing different experiences, industries, and ways of thinking to the team. And that input from those groups helps you think about and uncover roles or industries or approaches that you may have never considered and that still align with your goals and your values and your lifestyle. So the teams are really good for that. And then the accountability partners are somebody who's maybe a little closer to your experience so that you can help each other kind of reframe things and bounce ideas off of each other after you've gotten that group interaction. So often the best ideas come from outside our own bubble. And this phase in particular is designed to make sure that you're not limiting your options before you even begin. That so many of us do that. We make the decision that that's not the right job for us before we've taken a chance. And you have to have that outside input to help you see what others see as possible based on what they learn about you. So I love the peer interaction of this program. It's great for this. So after reflecting on your values, your strengths, your skills, your interests, the definition phase is where you narrow your options, clarify what matters. So you start by defining those career criteria. Compensation, what salary do you need? What kind of hours do you want? Are you looking for something full-time, part-time, flexible, just whatever you're looking for. Work style, is it something remote, in the office, hybrid? Is it something that you're looking for in terms of growth? Are you looking for some place that you can advance rapidly? Or are you looking for some place that you'll have a level of stability and just be able to, get there and just be there? And the mission, are you looking for someplace that is specifically aligned to your values? How important is that to you? And once you've identified those factors, we have you prioritize them. So again, if you're following along on the worksheet, so write down your top career priorities, whether that's location, salary, work style, company size. Would you want to be at a startup, or would you rather be at a more established company? Are you looking for something with, maybe 10 to 15 employees, or something with 10 to 15,000 employees, or the mission? And then rank those things. Okay, what are the priorities for you in the career criteria? And then reflect on your current job. Does it align with your priorities? Are your needs met, or is there a gap? Think about those things. So this process helps you determine whether your current role fits your values, or if it's time to explore new opportunities. And that helps you make more intentional decisions about what can be next. Then we move into the collecting career path ideas section, which is brainstorming with friends, tapping into your network, and exploring tools like careerexplorer.com, or even using AI, whichever AI you like to use, Claude or ChatGPT, or I don't even know how many there are now. So in the career design program, we dive deeper into this process, but feel free to try it on your own. Once you identify the strengths and the career criteria, go into one of these platforms and ask it, like, what are the best career paths for me based on XYZ? See what you find. You might be surprised. So before we move on to the next step, we'll take a moment to address some self-limiting beliefs. And I have another quick poll for you. And again, you can only pick one, but please feel free to share others in the chat. So we all experience self-limiting beliefs, but they tend to surface strongly throughout the career design process. And so we spend a little time on that. The key is to recognize them for what they are. They are beliefs, not facts. So we have to understand them in order to move forward with clarity and confidence. So here's the poll. I see that it's already going. So which of the following have you experienced when thinking about making a career change? You think, I don't have the right skills for a new role or industry. I'm too far along in my current career to start over. Too risky to leave my stable job. I won't find a role that offers better work-life balance. Or I don't have a strong enough network to make a change. I'd be shocked if you didn't all have more than one of these, but since we are limiting you to one, let's see. Yeah, see, these are spread a little more evenly, it looks like. Not as many of you are worried about risking leaving a stable job. Oh no, that number's changing. Let's see. I don't have the right skills for new role or industry. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Too far along in your current career to start over? I get it, but nope, never too late. There's always something else. You don't have a strong enough network. You won't find a role that offers better work-life balance. Okay. I appreciate these responses. I appreciate you being honest about what you're feeling with those. We all struggle with self-limiting beliefs. We are humans, especially when it comes to making a career change. That kept me stuck in my last job for a really long time. I thought, this is all I can do. There's nothing else I can do. There's nothing else I know how to do. But when I started thinking about how the things that I could do were transferable, it started to open my eyes to some other possibilities. So, whether you feel like you don't have the right skills, you're worried about taking a risk, they can hold you back from pursuing something else that might actually be a better fit for you. So what's important to recognize is that these are just stories that we tell ourselves, and they're stories that can be rewritten. They're things that can be changed. You have to change their mindset around them. So one of the most effective ways to overcome those beliefs is through brainstorming and research. Brainstorming, as we talked about, with friends, with families, with colleagues who know you and who can give you fresh perspectives, help you see opportunities you may never have considered. Using the research tools we just talked about, AI, careerexplorer.com, to generate ideas. It just can expand your view of what's out there and what's possible. And sometimes that's all you need, is just that little spark to think, oh, okay, I really never thought of that. So in our career design program, what we find is that participants really dive into this brainstorming and research process. When they do, it opens up possibilities that do actually help them move past the self-limiting beliefs. So, the more information you can gain and explore new paths, the more confidence you build, so that you can start to see a little more clearly and a little more openly and optimistically about where your career can go. So the next stage, the third stage, is the research and testing phase. And this is where your career exploration shifts from the reflection to real world action. And so this is the changer. This is where the rubber meets the road, as they say. So it's tempting to assume that we know what job or career path, what it will be like based on, what we've seen in the job title or job description, or because we've seen somebody else do it. But without actually testing those assumptions, you can head down a path that sounds good in theory, but is actually a really, really wrong fit for you. So again, most of us were not taught how to test drive a career path. We know to test drive a car before we buy it and make that kind of an investment. We know to go on house tours before we just buy a house, but we're never taught how to test out a career. So we're encouraged to leap into, applications and getting certifications and training programs and things because we think maybe it's a good fit. And we don't stop to think, is it even the right fit for me before I spend all this time and money? This phase helps you to flip that script. So instead of jumping in blind, you'll actually learn how to try before you make those investments of time or money through targeted conversations, low-risk experiments, and real-world research. So you explore whether a role genuinely excites you, or whether it fits your lifestyle and strengths, and whether it's a path that you're not only willing to go on and grow into, but eager to. So, our process is not about getting things perfect. It's about gathering enough clarity to move forward with confidence that the things that you want to test out are things that fit all these other things that you've figured out in the reflection and the definition phase. so that you're not spending months or, God forbid, years pursuing something that isn't actually right for you. So in this phase, we help participants move from the thinking to the doing, and we guide you through 3 proven strategies that help you explore potential career paths within a structured framework, so that you can evaluate your options without getting overwhelmed. This is the week of the 4-week program that people do start to feel a little bit overwhelmed. I'll share that candidly, but that's a good thing. It means that you've got a lot to work with, right? It's like maybe too many options. And so this really helps you. This is the week that really helps you kind of hone in on things. So here's how you do this. You do informational interviews. So these are intentional, curiosity-driven conversations with people who are already doing the work that you're considering. They give you an insider knowledge that you can't find on job boards or pick up by reading a, company website or a job description. Things like the day-to-day realities, the culture, the challenges you might face. This isn't about talking to somebody about getting a job. It's not asking for a job. It's learning what it's really like to have that job in that place, right? Maybe you think that this company is your dream company to work at, and you're able to do an informational interview with somebody and you find out that the culture is not actually what you had hoped it would be or expected it to be there. So that dream company maybe is not the right place for you based on what your needs are and what you're looking for in a place of work. The second thing is attending industry events, so conferences and other events, attending webinars, networking meetups, even casual panel discussions, whether those are virtual or in person, that let you watch and see that industry in action. So you can see how people communicate, what kind of topics are trending, whether the energy and environment feel like a good fit for you. So it's a great way to explore from the outside before stepping in. Do you feel comfortable talking the way that the industry talks, things like that. So conferences, webinars, those things are great and are, usually a reasonable investment to be able to get some insider information. And then test projects. So this is where the magic really happens. A test project is a small, low stakes, hands-on experiment that gives you a chance to actually do the kind of work you're considering before making a big investment of time or money or energy, getting certificates, whatever it may be. So it's your opportunity to step out of the research phase and into real life application. So this could be, designing a mock marketing campaign or a pitch deck if you're thinking, something communications, drafting a policy proposal or writing a sample for a field you're curious about, offering your skills to a nonprofit or a small business on a freelance basis or as a volunteer, or creating something on your own, a portfolio piece, a blog post, a prototype if you're into that kind of thing. So an actual test project that would have you be doing what you're thinking would be something you would enjoy doing. So what makes test projects so powerful is that they give you tangible feedback from the real world. So you're not guessing whether you'd enjoy the work or be good at it. You're trying it, you're sharing it, you're getting reactions, you're getting feedback, you're finding out what energizes you and what doesn't energize you, which is just as important. And you're getting the information you need to be able to refine the direction that you're moving in. So in many cases, these projects can open doors. They can lead to unexpected opportunities. You can end up making getting introductions to people that you weren't expecting. But what's important is that you're not stuck in the thinking mode. You're actually in the doing mode, and that's building your confidence. And you can design the project on your own terms to answer questions like, does this path really excite me? And do I have the skills, or am I willing to gain and develop the skills that I need to succeed here? So this is a really important and exciting phase. And once you've done your research, tested out your options, you're feeling confident in your choice, it's time to move into the launch phase where you actively pursue and secure a job. So traditional job search methods don't always work. We've talked about this earlier. Especially for career changers and non-traditional candidates, applying to a ton of jobs and hoping for the best is ineffective. It's discouraging. You see people posting, on LinkedIn, applied for 300 jobs. I got 5 interviews. I got 2 offers or whatever it is. So instead, what works is focusing on relationships. So building connections that open doors that job boards can't and lead to opportunities that maybe you wouldn't have found otherwise. So this first step is to make a short list of companies or organizations that genuinely excite you, whether or not they have current openings. We're not talking about, is there a job there right now, but what are the places that really you're excited about? The goal is to avoid a scarcity mindset. Think about long-term fulfillment. Think about, down the road. And it's best to start the process proactively before you're in a hurry to find a job. So I know for those who are maybe working, through a layoff situation, there's a desire to find something right now and probably a need to find something right now. But you have to be more intentional about it so that you don't jump into that next wrong thing. The next thing is building relationships. Once you've identified those target organizations, start connect with people inside them. Go on LinkedIn, look folks up, see where you have connections. So whether it's peers or managers or higher ups, build those connections so that you start to stand out if you are, come across the right opportunity there. In the launch phase, relationships are everything. So reach out to people, introduce yourself. You can tell them, I'm considering a career change. I really like the work your organization does. I'd love to see how I could add value to your team, even if there aren't current openings. That lets you get into their sort of sphere without asking for a job, but the focus is on the value you can offer. So it's kind of a win-win situation. You're learning about the organization, they're learning about you. And if you can show how you solve problems and contribute to their goals, you would stand out as a strong candidate, maybe even before that, they see your resume and before there's a position in front of you. So while relationships are crucial, resumes and interviews still play a role. You want to make sure your resume highlights your impact in previous roles and showcases those transferable skills that you now are going to start thinking about. How are these skills transferable? Even in automated systems, we know what we're up against, folks. So that's an important thing to make your resume optimized for the systems that we're working in now. For interviews, focus on storytelling. Use real examples to show how you can make an impact and add value. The goal is to convince the interviewer that you're the right fit and that you would make a meaningful contribution to their team. So be ready to talk about what you can do, what you can add by, really highlighting those stories in your interviewing. Don't just repeat what's on your resume. So that is an overview and a run through our program. And, I just like to highlight the process is not just about landing your next job. It's about building a better career and life that feel aligned and fulfilling and resilient in the face of change, whether that's change that you're, thinking about and planning for or the unexpected. Um, you know, we're in a world now with layoffs and industry shifts, a lot of economic uncertainty, changes in personal life that maybe are unexpected. So it's important to have multiple paths that you're excited about and prepared to pursue. You have to stay nimble in this environment. So this process helps you design not just one ideal plan, but a portfolio of possibilities. And it gives you the tools to understand how you can try things on for size, to find the right thing that will be rooted in your strengths, your values, your goals, so that you're ready to pivot with a bit of clarity instead of just feeling stuck. So remember that, we've had over 10,000 people through this program. We've seen time and time again that the community, the peer learning model really, really works for people. And so we're very excited to invite you to join our upcoming career design program for UAB, which again is launching on February 28th, 2026. It's a 30-day online experience, gives you everything you need to move through the process. It's clearly in more depth than what we've done today, with the support of a dedicated partner, a small peer team, a program manager like myself, and the broader community of people who are also navigating changes. Just so you know, it's an online program. It is basically an asynchronous program, but most participants spend about 7 to 9 hours per week on the activities, whether that's the reflection, whatever, group meetings, partner meetings, etc., and walk away with real clarity and momentum and a renewed confidence about their next move. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling uncertain, stuck, or you're just looking for a more thoughtful way to approach your career trajectory, we're here to help. And we really hope that you will think about joining the program. So if you have any questions, pop them into the chat or into the Q&A if there is one. I don't know. And
yeah, there is, and yes, please drop
okay.
questions in the chat. Well, if we start to get a few questions, we'll inch over 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock your time, just a little bit. And we do have a couple questions, and Kerrie, great information. And it's always fun to listen to what can help us in our career. For Ben, the price is $215 through February 7th. You're saving $50. The regular enrollment is $265. That'll go through February 23rd. So if you're going to act, you got a couple weeks to act, but go ahead and start thinking about that as well. All the feedback we've gotten on our end has been positive for those that have taken part in the program over the last, I think we've done 3 or 4 different cohorts. Tina asks, and I don't know, Kerrie, if you can answer this one or not, what is the success rate of this program? I think it's personal.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's not really quantifiable because it's not a job search program. It's not a job placement program. It is a career design program. So I'm sure that I know that we have statistics on the various outcomes from the different cohorts and from the entire program of satisfaction and, how people feel it has helped them. But we don't really have metrics on how many of those people then turned that into their actual job. It's about having the tools to be able to find that thing. So I'm sorry that I don't have a really great, strong number I could put on that.
But I think that's an honest answer because it does depend on what you are after and what you would consider success for the program. What do you think, when do you think it's the time to make a change? Is there something that has to happen? Or again, is that just kind of up to the individual and their career journey?
Yeah, I think that's very individual. I mean, so I mentioned, and I'm a very transparent person, so I I share my story a lot. I was in my last job, I spent over 25 years in the same career and in my last position for 8 years. And I knew it was not a good fit for me. The last one I knew was not a good fit for me within the first year. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I just finished my PhD in higher ed. I had worked in this for my whole career and, started as a student and that kind of thing. So it was like the time investment and it's just, I started out passionate about it. And I realized that it was because I started out in the international ed sphere, and I moved into another element that it was kind of necessary by some of those unexpected life changes. So I wished that I had had this program in that first year to help me be ready whenever I got ready to say, you know what, this really isn't working for me anymore. These are things that I feel like I know I can explore. Because I did get into that rut where I just thought, nope, this is all I can do. This is all I know how to do. And, you don't want to get to the place where you have no choice but to look for a job and then not know how to start.
Exactly.
So I think you could do this at any time. You don't even have to be right now thinking, I'm ready for a change, or I feel like it's coming soon. You could just want to have that toolkit ready so that, 5 years down the road, if you're thinking maybe I need to reevaluate things, you have that toolkit. The other thing about our program is that once you're in it, you have lifetime access to the curriculum. So you can always revisit, you can go back through those tools. It's an iterative process. Like, things change, your values might change. So it's a really, anytime is a good time.
And as you said, you never know when that career journey may take a shift.
Yep.
And it's better, it's a cliche, but it's better to look for a job when you have a job, so you can.
It's a cliche for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Kerrie, thank you so much. It's been great having you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I hope to see some of these names in our February cohort. And I wish everybody a lot of luck wherever you are in your career journey. Thank you so much, Greg, and have a great weekend, everybody.
You're so welcome. And just a quick note for today's audience, this webinar was recorded. Once it's uploaded on our website, you're going to get an email with a link so you can revisit the session or share it with others. If you're still wondering whether the UAB Career Design Program is right for you, think about what you want next for your career and where you want it to go. The 30-day flexible experience helps gain clarity, identify new possibilities, and move forward with intention. Now, by the end, you're going to walk away with a personalized career plan and the confidence to take that next step. And don't forget, you can save $50 when you enroll by February 7th. Final registration closes February 23rd. Meanwhile, here are the next 4 webinars coming up. On January 28th, join us for the first in a series of leadership webinars with The Evolving Leader, From Authority to Authenticity with Dr. Alan Gorman. Then on February 19th, come back for Budgeting 201, Leveling Up Your Financial Plans, as a follow-up to last week's Budgeting 101, which is currently on our YouTube channel. Return on February 25th for the second installment of our 4-part leadership series with The Humble Narcissist, Leading with Humility with Dr. Matthew Scherer. And finally, join us March 10th to discover how the right coverage can turn travel surprises into smooth sailings during Plan for the Unexpected, travel insurance for alumni. You can register for these and more by visiting alumni.uab.edu/events. As we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you. Your feedback helps us improve and shape future webinar topics. Just scan the QR code on your screen to access a brief survey and share your thoughts. Once again, thanks so much for joining us. And as always, go Blazers.